What's up everyone, ODC here, and I'm back to another action figure review. Today's review, we're going to take a look at the Marvel Legends 80th Anniversary Iron Man action figure. As most of you know, I'm just going to say this right off the bat, I'm not the biggest Iron Man fan, but when I saw this figure, I was like, ooh, that is quite intriguing. It's kind of a cross between his classic look and the Alex Ross rendering of him. He does come with multiple different accessories, which I really do like. He comes with a three heads total, two extra in the packaging. And he also comes with these effects, which you can actually break into three different parts, and I'll show you that in the review. Wow, I gotta say right off the bat that between me picking up Iron Man and Thor, I still have yet to pick up Cap, but I'm still scouring my my WalMarts, and I plan on picking him up soon. I got to say that this 80th anniversary line has been doing very well. I really can't wait to pick up the Hulk Wolverine 2-pack as well. Probably going to pass on the Colossus Juggernaut 2-pack, but talking about the figure here, I don't mean to go off on too much of a tangent there. This is a really just gorgeous looking figure. A couple QC issues here and there, nothing too crazy though, as far as that's concerned, and we're going to get into a bunch of different comparisons with some older Iron Man figures as well throughout the review. But just taking a look at the figure here, I've got him with his blasting hands, which looks pretty cool. I think that's a really nice touch, and like I said, there's multiple different ways you can use this. I'm just kind of going with the I like to call it the trifecta look for the blasting effects. You can remove these; they're just pretty much pegged into a little hole in the hand, and so that looks pretty cool. Unfortunately, there is no wrist hinge joints on these hands. They're just kind of stuck in that blasting look for the hands, and there's no coloration in the hands because they're pretty much going to be pegged into the energy effects anyway. As far as these, let me just get him out of the way really quick. As far as these energy effects do go, I think they're pretty cool looking. I don't mind that we got two of them. I think it makes perfect sense. And they're very well done. It's nice to see that we've got some different style energy effects instead of the same old, so you can see that they're going a little bit more of the extra mile for the 80th anniversary. That's why the figures are around the $24, $25 price point. And you're getting extras with them as well. And to be honest with you, I don't know if I necessarily do agree with the $25 price point. I mean, you're sure you're getting more accessories, but is it that many more accessories than you would get with an accessory, a regular Marvel Legends figure, which would come with an accessory and a bath piece? I think these are still around the $20 price point. Maybe the paints are a little bit better than your regular typical Marvel Legends comic book figure that you would see. There's a little bit more metallics with these. But talking about the energy effects on their own, they are a 3-stage energy effect, and by what I mean by that is there's a peg, these peg into the middle there, and then there, and then there. So there's 3 stages. There's one stage right there. You can also peg that into the hand or the feet, whichever you so choose. Then you have a hole right here. You don't necessarily have to use this. You can use this on its own, and this is pretty much what it looks like with that in his hand on its own. That's pretty cool. So there's maybe a smaller blast coming out of him. And then you have this effect right there, and it just pretty much just plugs right in there, and then you can plug that into his hand. Or you can plug these into his feet, like so. Get that out of his hand. And you can plug these into the bottom of his feet, giving off that kind of rocket boot look. Or if you so choose, you could probably have this in his hand right here. Maybe he's blocking or deflecting a blast. And then put these in his feet, kind of so he's like taking off or something like that while he's in mid-air. So, sorry for the blurriness there. My camera's playing catch-up. But looks pretty cool, though. It's nice that you have these options, and you can play around with these. You can probably use these on some other Marvel Legends that have the open hands. I'm not sure how many are going to be available for that usage due to them having to have peg holes. Maybe on some other Ironman figures you could use these on for their feet. Let's just test that out really quick and just see. Let's test this out with the bleeding edge armor. Let's see if those peg in. No, it's not really a good peg right there for those. The peg hole's a little bit too big. So, yeah, those are just falling out. And then he doesn't have any peg holes in his hand. It's just kind of... I mean, you could always use some sticky tack and then just pop that in there. It'll stay. I mean, if you're a collector, I would definitely suggest... investing in some sticky tack. Those are your friend. Talking about the figure here, as far as quality control, now I have seen some quality control issues with some other action figures that were reviewed as far as the 80th anniversary goes. As far as mine does go, his arc reactor in the center here, and I don't know how well you guys can see it. Let me focus on the chest here. It's obviously off-centered. It doesn't really drive me nuts like some other collectors, and I've seen this problem with some others, but you can tell it's off-centered if you look right there. It's supposed to be up a little bit further, but I do like the differentiation between this yellow, and then you've kind of got this like pale, almost like a cream white, or a cream color, excuse me. I like the differentiation between those as far as the arc reactor and then the other two sitting right there for the chest piece. Looks really good. I love this like metallic kind of gold he's got. It looks really good. Very pleased with that. And this actually is painted. All of this metallic gold is painted on. It's not just metallic plastic. And you can actually tell that by the, I believe it's the back of the knee joints right here. They're actually a different color. So if you look at the knee joints, that's a different color gold than this color gold right there. This is a different plastic than that. So I want to say that these arms are painted. Same thing for the mask, or the helmet, excuse me. For the Helmut. He's German. No, I'm just kidding. But I think it looks really good overall. I'm really pleased with how the paint looks as far as how crisp and clean it is. I really don't have too many quality control concerns. It's just that chest piece, which doesn't really bother me. It might bother other people. But, if you do happen to buy these in store, which I didn't, I purchased mine on Amazon. But if you do happen to find these in store, just take a look at, the body. I have seen some bodies have little bits of like extra, I don't want to say QC issues as far as the molds go. Maybe a little bit extra molding right here, kind of getting in the way of the ab crunch. I have seen some speckled paint a little bit for the red on the legs with some, but overall, I want to say that this is a really good look, and this is definitely going to be my go-to classic-looking Iron Man. Very pleased with how it turned out. And then you can just swap out the hands. Let me get those hands out of there. You can just pop those out, and like I said, there is no hinge on the hand itself. So it just kind of pegs in, and he's just kind of using his hand blasting mode. So there's that, but it's nice that they give us the options for that. Then you also come with, he also comes with, excuse me, two hands, two kind of closed-fisted hands, and you can actually see the blaster opening portion kind of painted. It's not perfectly painted, but that's okay. We're talking about a $24, $25 figure here, not a $50, $80 Mezco figure here. So it's not going to be perfect, and that's what you kind of have to understand. And I've actually seen comparisons with this figure next to the Mezco one, and I got to say that they're pretty close. I mean, obviously the Mezco one is probably going to be using a little bit, maybe a little bit sharper materials, maybe a little bit sharper paint. But when I saw these two next to each other, I was like, wow, the Marvel Legends one is just really on point. It just looks so darn good. And how can you beat it for the price point, really? When you're comparing, a more premium figure. And I know that's difficult to do for some. You shouldn't compare. Some people will say, oh, you shouldn't compare the two. And I normally don't, because I, as far as premium figures go, they're obviously going to be more expensive. But I think he looks absolutely fantastic. I do have a little bit of the loose leg syndrome in the, I want to say, the thigh joint with the T-bar going across, as far as those go. But I'm not going to nitpick it too much. Overall, he stands, and he stands accordingly. And I don't really have too many issues as far as him standing or anything like that. He doesn't fall over. He doesn't do any wiggling or anything like that. There's no issues there. He's just a little bit more loose in the hips, and that's fixable. I can always, down the road, if he does become a little bit more loosey-goosey in those legs, I can always fix that with some floor polish. That's not the end of the world. Now, getting to the rest of his heads, now you have this kind of very classic look, and we'll get back to this head in a second. You kind of want to just pop this head off like so, and it's not hard to do. Okay, and there's the other head on the body, and I think it looks really good. If you're trying to go for that different stylization, a different look that sets himself apart from your regular classic-looking Iron Man, then this is good. This is a good option for you. And it's nice to have those options, because not everyone wants the same thing, So the more, the merrier as far as options go, as far as giving accessories that make sense like this, and trying to recreate a different art style that can be displayed on your shelf. So I really do dig that quite a bit. And while I'll probably still go with the classic head, this head does look really good. I really do like the way it looks, and I've always been a huge fan of Alex Ross's artwork. And whether it's with DC or Marvel, I think he did a fantastic job with the artwork, and it really does set himself apart from all of the other artists in that discussion. And then moving on to the final head, we'll get to the Tony Stark head next. Okay, and we're back with the Tony Stark head on the body, and wow, I'm really impressed with this Tony Stark head. I personally think, now this is based on my personal preference, I personally think that this is his best head as far as an unmasked head that's been released. Obviously, this is a different kind of stylization, different kind of artistry right here. He does have different types of facial hair. I understand that. There's the Invincible Iron Man that came out in the Black Panther wave that has a different look. It's a little bit more comic bookish. And then there's, the previous Hasbro one that came out in the 2-pack, which I was never a big fan of. The way the sculpt of the head and the way the angles of the head was cut, where the ball joint would connect, just looked like a floating head. It didn't actually look like it belonged on the body. This looks like it belongs on the body. And I kind of have him in this little Hamlet pose, kind of. But I think this fits in perfectly. I feel like, even if you just wanted to have the option of having a Tony Stark head on a suited body, you have this option. You can use that. If you're more of a traditionalist and you just like the suit, you could go for, a suited, regular armored up suited Iron Man, and then put that Tony Stark head on a regular cloth suited body. So you have these options to work with. And to each their own on how you want to work that. Personally, I'm probably going to go with just his regular suited body, his armored suited body, the classic look, and then I'll probably pop this head on a cloth suited body and see how that works. And I'll actually show you how that works and see if it pegs in just right now. Okay, and we're back with the suited body, the typical, Agent Coulson suited body that was also used for Chameleon and Hammerhead. And I gotta say, it's not working too well. The head's a little bit too big for the body. The head also doesn't sit on the peg really well. The peg is too small for the hole on the head, so it does wiggle around, and then it sits too low on the neck as well, so it kind of looks like he's got no neck. It's just a big-ass head. So the head is a little bit too big. I mean, you could use some sticky tack and maybe kind of prop it up a little bit further, but then even still, the head is a little bit large. He's got kind of like a big big old head. If it doesn't bother you too much, then I'd say go for this, and then just use some sticky tack, kind of prop the head up where it's supposed to sit. Personally, I'm going to probably be on the search for a different body, for a suited body for him. But, I mean, you could go this route if you really want to, and you don't care too much. You're not too particular with the scale of the head. But it is a little bit larger, so there's that to point out. Okay, so as far as Ironman's articulation does go, his head can swivel at a full 360 rotation. He can tilt a little bit, side to side. See if we got some job. Oh, yeah, we got some job turkeys up in here. And then his head does go up about that far, so you can get him to pretty good Ironman flight poses. So no issues with that at all. The arms go up, down, full 360 rotation at the arm, bicep swivel, double jointed elbows, wrist swivel, wrist hinge, back and forth. And like I said, there's no hinge in the other hand, so they just kind of stagnant. Crunch back, crunch forward, and there he is in like a fully extended flight pose, just so you know, for the extension of that. Waist swivel, T-jointed hips, which go out to do splits. Splits are pretty good. Legs go forward, upper thigh swivel, right there. Legs don't really go back too much, just a little bit. Double jointed knee. He does have a boot swivel. Can point the toe really nicely. Points the heel and ankle pivot and 2 peg holes. Okay, so for our first comparisons, I went with kind of the medium-large bodies to compare them with. And as you can see, Hercules is the tallest of the 3. And he is on kind of his own body. And then you have Captain Britain on the Hyperion body mold. So that's how they stack up with those 2 bodies. Okay, next up we've got the new Marvel Legends Nightcrawler and the Target exclusive 3-pack Ultron, and that's how those stack up with each other. Okay, next up we have Guardian on the right, and then we have Bucky Cap on the left, and that's how those stack up with each other. Okay, next up we have him standing next to 2 Build-A-Figures. We've got the Absorbing Man Build-A-Figure on the left, and then on the right we've got the Sasquatch Build-A-Figure. Okay, and next up we've kind of had the same body mold here, but I just wanted to show the differentiation in the color palettes. As far as that's concerned, we have the Bleeding Edge armor on the right, and then we have Cosmic Iron Man on the left. Okay, and last up, here's probably the one you're really looking forward to, is the comparison with the original release from Hasbro, which was, I believe, quite a while ago. And as you can see, the daintiness of the previous release, and then this release right here, which just looks like the previous Hasbro one looks like a little boy, and this one looks like a grown man actually in a suit. This actually looks like it's big enough to be bulky enough to be an actual suit, where the other one just kind of looked like an emaciated anorexic man in a suit. So yeah, the new one just absolutely destroys the older one as far as my opinion goes. I just can't see there really being too much of comparison here as far as this guy outweighing the new one with any pros and cons. He's got wide jointed hips, which are the arms don't go past this point as far as getting the arms down. He's really just an outdated, outclassed figure as far as even the thigh swivels. He's only got swivels, no ankle pivot. So in every conceivable way, the new one just destroys the old one, in my opinion. Okay, so my final thoughts for this 80th anniversary Iron Man figure from Marvel Legends. Man, I gotta say that I think this is the Iron Man that's probably going to be seen as maybe the definitive Iron Man down the road. Maybe not just yet to some people. I know a lot of people have those nostalgic feels for some of the old Toy Biz ones. But I personally, this is my go-to Iron Man. This is my classic comic book Iron Man that's going to be sitting on my shelf with the rest of my definitive Avengers. as far as that classic look for him. And if you want to go with the Alex Ross look, you can go with that as well. Like I said, you have the options. As far as accessories go, I think they knock it out of the park as far as what he needs, and having the different parts of the accessories separate from each other and being used for different functions works beautifully. I think the sculpt on him is top-notch. I think some of the paint apps do leave you a little bit wanting. You can see a little bit of paint rubbage right here on the thigh, and then I pointed out the center arc right there. I actually just noticed that paint on the leg right there. Maybe that was from me moving him around. I don't know, but I guess I was a little bit ignorant to it. But I apologize for not pointing that out sooner. Overall, I think the paint is pretty solid on him. It's a much needed update from what we were given before with that the previous Ironman, which I showed in the comparisons. The articulation's on point. You can get him into his flight poses if you need to. Not really an issue there. The articulation's on point. The range of motion's on point. And the fact that this does not come with a bath piece, the fact that it does come with the proper accessories, I think it's a home run. I really do. If there's a couple things that maybe I would improved on, was maybe just a couple, maybe just like add that hinge joint into the blasting hands. This way it's not fixed, and you can get a little bit better range of motion with those hands as opposed to having just a fixed peg that doesn't move. I really feel like the figure would be a better figure overall if those hands did have hinge joints. But at the end of the day, it's still, to me, not the end of the world. The other thing would be, yeah, some of the paint is while it is good, there's a little bit of blemishes here and there, and I just hope it doesn't chip and get worse down the road. But overall, I love the sculpt of this figure. I love that it is form meets function, and I love the extra Tony Stark unmasked head. I love the additional Alex Ross head, and then I just love this classic look for him. And I mean, even if you wanted to double down and get another one, I guess you could use have different stylizations for however you want to look. As far as maybe we'll get an updated suited body where this Tony Stark head does fit a little bit better as far as proportions go down the road. But overall, I would give this a 2 thumbs up, 2 thumbs way up, and say go and get them. I think this 80th anniversary figure line is one of the lines that I'm really probably going to get behind as far as Marvel Legends go. I know they're going more of the comic book classic looking route for right now, and I really do dig that, and I hope this line does thrive. I hope it gets better and better and better down the road. But one more thing I would add to this was maybe a center arc reactor blasting effect for this. Maybe that could have been like the one really big piece, but maybe they had to cut costs. I don't know the logistics or the specific cost measuring things that they had to go through as far as that for the figure and the budget or whatever. But overall, I'm really pleased with the figure, and I'm happy to have him a part of my collection. Maybe you will too. But that's pretty much it for me. Let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Thank you for watching as always, and I'll see you guys on the flip side.